Yeah.
Say hello. Introduce yourself because people won't know which one is which.
Sure. I'm Scott Farquhar. This is my Cannon-Brookes. This is mine.
Okay, great. All right, so we're here to talk to you very simply about Atlassian's terrific success, right? So tell me, just start telling me in general, how did you guys get started? What is the Atlassian story? Not a lot of people have heard this story. And where are you today in terms of numbers, in terms of revenues, people, customers, number of users, whatever you want to tell us?
Sorry, you mentioned in terms of numbers. We did a little over 40 million US in sales last year, last calendar year that is. We have about closing in on about 15,000 customers in 110 countries now. That's 15,000 paying customers. We have probably, I don't know, if you include all the other licensees, somewhere up to 30, 40,000 licensees, I suppose. We have about 200 staff, mainly located in Sydney. It's about 110, about 55 up in San Francisco. And then we have 3 other offices, a small office in KL in Malaysia, a small office in Amsterdam in Europe, and Dansk on the Baltic Sea in Poland.
So all of this growth, I mean, again, tell the readers, the viewers, how you guys got started, because the story is great. I mean, I love the startup story. So, but you've done all this since when? Since 2005? I mean, when?
We started about 2002.
Okay.
So we've basically been on a sort of classic doubling every year path since 2002, which is about 7 years this month, I think.
Yes.
So we basically bootstrapped the company. Just the two of us started. We tried a whole bunch of different ideas and ended up settling on building software and collaboration software. So we've been around for a while, and I guess different to many other people in this sort of space is that we've been self-funded. So we've been profitable since the start, and we've had customers using our products, and that's the way we've grown, as opposed to sort of going out and getting some venture money and trying to take a stab at it that way.
Right. That's basically the next question is, what is it about Atlassian? I mean, you really do have a unique story. You know that in this space. So what is the secret, you think, to your success as of today?
I think it's partly hard and partly soft. It's hard in terms of, I think our model makes a big difference. So we're very, very open about everything that we do. We have our pricings online. It's extremely reasonable. We basically don't have anything over 10 grand at all. You don't have to call a salesperson to get a price or any of those sorts of things. We don't offer any discounts beyond those that are published. It's just a sort of fair and open policy. And it really seems to resonate with customers because they know that they're getting the same price as the guy down the street. And at the same time, because we have a global distribution, as I said, we have customers in about 110 countries now, we can keep the price of the software extremely low, which obviously leads to great volume. I think for me, it's the fact that we've always built the products for the customer rather than to target a particular market segment or to say, okay, we're going to go after social software and we're going to build whatever latest features there are, circulating around, whether they're useful or not. We've taken this sort of whole social aspect from the very beginning. It's always been about collaboration for us, not about building in certain features that are the latest. It's all about social software should be to enable people to collaborate, and we've been really focused on sort of that outcome of actually getting useful information out that helps businesses as opposed to just whiz-bang features. So we've always been very focused on the customer since the beginning, and that's, I think, shows up in the products, that they're easy to use, that they make sense. They don't feel like a hodgepodge of different products integrated into a social platform that doesn't really make any sense.
Right. Excellent. There's a lot of discussion in the marketplace about adoption and barriers to entry. It seems like you guys don't have that. You have not experienced that. I mean, realistically. So I want to ask you the question: when this question comes up, what is your answer? I mean, obviously, Atlassian really grew virally, and I think because you had those relationships inside of large organizations based on the Jira tools, I think you had an advantage. But when there's you just mentioned Accenture and a 90,000 instance essentially, or collaboration among 90,000 people, What are some of the obstacles at that level that you hear about in terms of?
Well, you certainly, I mean, we certainly have obstacles in terms of adoption, just like anyone else does, I suppose. I mean, certainly Jira and other products that we have, Fisheye probably, precede us in terms of reputation. So people know the business for producing good quality software. But it's still a case of the tool driving adoption, really, in terms of the fact that, we have many, many stories of Confluence getting in as a 25-user tool by some small team, probably under a desktop. And once it reaches 2,000, 3,000 people in the organization, generally the CIO finds out about it, picks up the phone, rings us, is a little bit angry that it's falling over all the time. And then we ask where it's running, and he says, oh, well, I'll go check on that. And he finds it's still running under some guy's desktop. And it gets pulled into IT, etc., and it gets more formally deployed and managed. So I think it comes down to the quality of the software in terms of adoption. We don't try and snow people with all sorts of terminology. We try to make something that the average person in their business can use.
Excellent.
Hopefully, if they find it useful, they get connected with a team that uses it, and it spreads through the business that way.
Okay. All right. So the last question: What in your experience over these years, what has been the biggest surprise related, I would say, specifically to Atlassian's success? What could you possibly have not predicted that has occurred?
For me, there's a couple of ones. One is the adoption. So, I mean, we mentioned Accenture. There's a couple other companies that have, well above 10,000 people using instances, and we know for a lot of them across the organisation. So that's probably my biggest surprise, is just how much it's grown without corporate support.
Without, and if I can just say one thing, and without a pretty how should I say this? Hollywood version marketing effort. I mean, really. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen an Atlassian ad, a banner ad. I don't think I've ever seen anything along those lines.
We tend to let the users do the advertising. So it's a lot more reasonably priced to do it that way around. But you should watch for our spot in the Super Bowl next year. I'd say the biggest surprise probably would be the fact that you can build a business at this level without venture capital. Certainly, going into it, we always assumed that at some level we would need to do that. You know what I mean? It's kind of the track that your brain is trained to think in the tech sector. And we've made a lot of very smart, pragmatic decisions. It's something that we come back to and look at. Probably annually kind of thing, to decide if we need to do it. We chat to people, and we always kind of make the decision, well, we actually don't need to do it at the moment, and I'm sure it should add much, so we'll go look at next year. And, if you look back and you think how many times we've made that decision, it's kind of surprising that we've got this far, to me. If you ask, in terms of one thing I wouldn't have known 7 years ago that I know now is if you have the right products with the right prices, it's certainly possible to build your own business.
Right. Okay, great. All right, so we're gonna conclude this part of the interview.